Just show you on here how many people are watching from here.
Right here.
Oh, right here.
Welcome to the JP8Report. This is James Pierce with the JP8Report with 2026 election interview with Coryell County runoff county judge candidate Rob Erwin. And that would be the GOP runoff. Welcome, everyone, to the JP8Report. As we get started here, don't forget to click that follow button to follow the podcast and give us a like for the interview that's going on right now. And we have the live chat open. Rob can see everything that's coming across. If you have questions, ask, and we can take care of that for you. And no better time to answer in the present, right? Be
That's
like
it.
on KWTX, live on the TV.
There you go.
Well, we'll be here just for a little while, and we can talk about some questions. We got a whole bunch of them in for him. All right, and then other than that, welcome to the.
Thank you for having me.
Yep.
Great service you're doing for the voters here, just giving people the opportunity to put their agenda out and some things people need to know.
Oh yeah, I mean I don't mind doing it. This is fun. I do this twice a day, and then if y'all didn't know, I do 2 podcasts a day on this channel. I do 6:30 to 7 o'clock in the morning, and then I also do one at noon called the JP8Report, and it's free. I'm getting some stuff squared away here for Rob here. All right, so you made it to the big leagues. You're in the runoff. All right,
The first hurdle.
You cleared the first hurdle.
We almost cleared the finish line, but
We're only first and second place now.
Yeah.
Right. So with that being said, for the people that have not, and we know no Democrat that voted in the primary can vote at all. Okay, this is pure Republican, or if someone hasn't voted yet at all, they can actually vote. So the people that might have forgotten who you were, give everyone a good refresher who you are, what you stand for, before we get started with the questions.
Okay. Well, I'm Rob Erwin. I'm the county running for county judge, Coryell County, 2026. This is a runoff election. In the general election, I did get the most votes. I don't exactly remember what the difference was, but I was 63 or 64 votes shy of getting the 50% plus 1. So therefore, we're in a runoff. Had a lot of support. Going to need all that support again to get this thing done. There probably could not be a worse week to have this runoff election. That is that week of early voting. The Friday is graduation at Gatesville High School. Then you have the holiday weekend. Everybody's off on Monday. Expect to be back to work on Tuesday. Tuesday is the voting day. That's election day. So it's going to take, a lot of people, a lot of friends, calling friends, getting people out, getting things done that way. I've talked to some people that have given me some instruction on what I did right, what I did wrong, and they know what they're talking about, so I'm going to listen to them. And most of them was the same thing. It said, you can't do it by yourself. I tried so hard to do it by myself.
Get overwhelmed.
And I just, but it's the having friends call their friends and just keep calling until, be sure that everybody shows. It's going to take everybody to get it done. So.
Yeah, then Republicans are so apt to, I'm only going to vote on election day, early vote.
Yeah.
Well, that's a double whammy Tuesday, because Memorial Day is special to a lot of us veterans.
Right.
A lot of us veterans. Because I got buddies I lost in combat.
Absolutely.
But that Tuesday is actually the first day of the work week.
Right.
And everyone's focused on the first day of the work week.
Holiday, getting back to work.
Right.
So that's why I'm really pushing people to get out the early voting places, the tax offices, 7 a.m., 7 p.m., Monday through Friday. That's the 18th through the 22nd, I believe.
22nd, yes.
That makes it a little bit easier. It's only going to take a minute to run in and vote, and we really need to get friends calling friends and people you work with, people voters calling other voters, reminding them, and staying after them until we get it done.
Yeah. On the runoff, there's only Uh, it for like where I live at is you and Judge Miller's race,
Right.
and then there's a judge race and the attorney general's race.
Right.
I think that's all.
Yeah.
But if you live in 2 and 4, you got the additional ones.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So, but you're all ready for this, huh?
Absolutely. I'm ready.
Did you? I heard you took a vacation right
I
after
did. As soon as the
primary?
election was over, the following Saturday, it was spring break, and we did that pretty regularly. We went to Lake Tahoe and took all the kids and grandkids, and we chilled out there for a week and rested and kind of got refocused, and I'm ready to go.
I've never been out there. I bet it was fun.
It's beautiful. It's the most beautiful place I've ever been. I haven't been a tremendous amount of place. I've seen a lot of country when I was driving a truck and all that, but you see it at 70 miles an hour. And
So you used to be 18-wheeler driver?
Oh gosh, yeah.
For how long?
Well, the first time was about 4 or 5 years, and then I went into the fire service, and I was there Fort Hood for 15 years. And then when I left Fort Hood, I went back and I bought another truck and worked for 15 years driving for myself. And,
so you were a firefighter also?
yes.
So
I was for probably 25, 30 years. I got in that. Gatesville had a maximum enrollment of 35 people when I was in there. That's all we had equipment for. So as I became unavailable to answer calls when they needed calls, I would step out of the way. Officially get out of the department. I never quit helping them, but I would, if somebody else wants to come in and take my place on that 35 member roster that's going to be there regularly. Like when I worked at Fort Hood, we worked 72 hours a week over there, every other day, 24 on, 24 off. And one day during a 2-week period, we would get a day off, which would give us 3 days in a row. But I mean, I just didn't have a lot of time. At that time, I had some apartments I was taking care of and trying to keep the maintenance between all that on my days off. And anyway.
So I guess a week and a half ago was a very eye-opening experience up in Gatesville.
It was a nightmare come true. We planned on that for years and years and years. And it finally happened. But in reality, that's the third time that's happened. That store's been obliterated twice before by
the
fire.
Same block of houses, buildings.
Yes,
really.
And it was when they first right after.
This time it's over. It's over with because those walls look like.
Yes, it'll all have to be demolished. And my hope is that a developer will come in there and buy that whole section and rebuild those buildings to where they look like the old storefronts that were there. That would be fantastic, and then rent the space out. Clay McClellan. He owns Leard's. He's older than I am. I don't see him. I'm not speaking. I haven't talked to Clay, but it'd be hard for me at my age to take on a project like rebuilding all that up there. So I don't know. I shouldn't speak on something I don't know about, but I would really like to see somebody build it back as historic.
Were you there for most of the evening while the fire was going?
Yes. My sister-in-law called me and she said, "Do you have your scanner on?" I said, "Sorry, I don't have a scanner anymore. I don't keep up with." She said, "Well, Square's on fire." And I said, "Let me go see." So I told my wife, grabbed my coat and just put my boots on. I said, "The Square's on fire. I'm going to help. Do what I can." So yes, I was there most of the night. I probably left there around midnight. Got up the next morning, went back down there. They needed barricades. So I went and rounded up 30 barricades to help block the square. I was just doing what I could do. That's the way I'm wired. I help where I can. I have a lot of experience in the fire service, so I wasn't fighting the fire, but I was helping get the tender operation, get the supply trucks coming in there. So we had 5 or 6 pumpers there. We had 2 aerials. Coppers Cove sent an aerial. Gatesville had an aerial. Which is the ladder truck, snorkel, whatever you want to call them. They're pumping off the hydrants around the square. There's not a tremendous amount of water on the square per se. You get one block off, and my understanding is it's tied into a new 18-inch main. So there's a lot of water there. But we had to lay a lot of hose to get a water supply up there. But just try, one of the assistant chiefs came by and I said, "Bobby, what can I do to help?" He said, "We need drinking water." I said, "I'm on it. I'll be back." So I went to the fire station, got 6 or 8 cases of water, and come back up there. And I'm carrying it a case at a time and handing it out to the guys that are right there, on the water streams. and then trying to be a safety guy at the same time. Remind, I've seen this happen before. We had a fire on the north side of the square, a single building. It had a firewall on both sides, so it didn't get everything. But as it progressed along, the facade on the front of that building turned loose, and it was rock, and it all fell forward. And we had some people that they didn't get injured, but they got really close. So I was trying to remind the guys that were, if they're actually doing the firefighting, that just be prepared, be on your feet, leave the nozzles, and don't worry about that, but be where you can get out of the way because when it falls, all that heat that's behind it's coming out with it, and it's like it'll be just a big thing of air coming out behind it, and it's super hot. If you've seen the pictures, it was a mess. We did.
There was some guy named Sean Gaston, I think his name is, and he took a drone up, and he had some very thorough, very good pictures. They even made it. The KWTX even picked up, put on our
some tremendous
TV
footage there. I thought we were in pretty good shape when it started. There used to be a firewall between the furniture store and the rest of the building, or a portion of the furniture store. That apparently on the second floor that had been altered or done away with or whatever. But I thought it was going to burn because there was a rock wall, brick wall going all the way up, which in old construction like that, normally that's a firewall that goes all the way to the bottom. But it breached the firewall somehow, and when it got over into all the furniture and all that stuff. Then the big problem was in that particular building, the second story was suspended from the ceiling. There were no load-bearing walls under it. It's hung from the ceiling. It's just hanging there. We pre-planned that building a long time ago, just because if that was to ever happen, you don't want people in there trying to fight that fire with this suspended second floor, and it's got furniture and everything else, mattresses.
So y'all, the volunteer firemen departments out there, they actually plan for different buildings.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. You go in those buildings and you look at them.
That's cool. Absolutely. That's like having op orders for the Army and stuff.
Right.
That would okay. I never
every building on the square and most of the major buildings in town all have pre-plans. You know where the closest plug is. You know what the water flow is from that plug, because you can look at the size of the dimensions of the fire and the fuel load of the fire when you get there, and you can make a rough estimate of how many gallons a minute it's going to take to put that fire out. How many gallons of water you have to put on this fire to suppress it. There are formulas for all that stuff.
Oh wow, really?
But,
okay,
so you know whether we're going to need one line coming in, I'm going to need two lines coming in, or we got 1,000 gallons of water on the truck. We can knock it out with that, as long as we get to it quick.
Oh wow!
But there's.
Now, you taught me something today. That's great. Yeah. That's awesome. I can tell you all about the Army.
Yeah.
But I don't know nothing about.
Yeah, and you can't put somebody in a position. The only way to put that fire out would have been to go inside the building and attack the fire, try to push it back to where it came from. That's the only way you're going to stop anything like that. But you can't put people inside a building knowing that second floor could fall at any minute.
Yeah.
And you just can't do it. So
the lives are more important than the property inside.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Property can be replaced.
Well, you ready to get going on some questions?
Absolutely.
You just paid. That's a really good grasp of the situation.
Yes, sir.
That's really good. I'm glad you did that for several years. And how many years were you a volunteer fireman?
Well, a volunteer fireman in Gatesville, 25 plus years, off and on. And like we talked about, there was, the maximum enrollment was 35 for the longest time. And as the department got full and I was unable to answer calls, I would get out, and some situation would change, I'd get back in.
Okay.
And then my health got to where I just can't do so. I had a bypass surgery in 2013, which pretty much limits.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about property tax relief right now.
Okay.
So in the 2026 Republican primary ballot included propositions on phasing out property taxes. Mm-hmm. That was number one, Prop 1. How do you balance the state level push for tax reduction with the county's need to fund essential services like law enforcement and roads?
Well, so if they do away with property taxes, that's all we have. We have a little sales tax, but property tax is what funds the county,
right,
by and large. So there will have to be another stream of revenue, whether it's adding to the sales tax, which I would be all for. Then the guy that makes $1 million, he spends a whole lot more than the guy that makes $20,000. So he pays a lot more taxes. Just that's the fair way to do it, in my opinion. Um, I, Property owners, they've been funding the bill forever, and the guys that rent property. So what doesn't affect us? Well, it does affect you, because when the taxes go up, your landlord's going to raise your rent right on down the road. It's worked for years and years. If they're going to try to do away with it, then I would hope they would add some to the sales tax. But then when that happens, the state has the purse strings. You lose control of the purse. But not that you have any control over it, but it's all done on a local basis. And if they do away with it or come up with a different way to fund the county, then it's going to be more going to the state for money and stuff like that.
Well, it would have to be a value added tax, which would take us from 8.25 close to maybe 18 cents on the dollar for a VAT or a sales tax.
Yeah,
because you got to be funded. Copper's Cove would have to be funded. Coryell County would have to be funded.
absolutely.
The college would have to be funded
Right.
for CTC. Us down here, we pay the property tax of CTC,
Right.
and then you have Trinity Groundwater.
Mm-hmm.
That involves
all that has to be taken into consideration.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So it's a lot of money.
The schools by law have to be taken care of by the state. So I could see that, but municipal property tax, that would be hard to overcome.
Yeah.
Whether we all like it or not. I mean, I'm 100%, but like I tell people, I spend as much of my money in Copper's Cove as possible anyway to try to.
Well, and Coryell County as a whole, we have a lot of 100% disabled veterans, a lot, especially in the Copper's Cove area. Really and truly, the government should give us a little impact aid because of that. They do the schools, Killeen School District, they get a lot of money from the federal government because of all the military students. Not only that, but Fort Hood is occupying how many thousands of acres of Coryell County that we get no aid off of that. That's another thought that I had. Trying to pick up money everywhere that we can, except out of the taxpayers' pockets. It's like the sheriff said at one time. Our tax structure is shingles. It's rooftops, and we need to do something other than that. I don't know where we go, but
I mean, it would help if the EDB was reconstituted.
Yes.
We have an EDC down here. We have EDC Type A for industrial type manufacturers try to be brought in. Like we got the VA that's coming in here, but
it's a shame that it's not going to generate any property tax, but it will create some jobs that will create some taxes.
Primary, secondary.
Copper's Cove is prime. It looks to me like with support, some type of support stuff for Fort Hood. I mean, it's grown up over around Killeen, and so the natural, to be next to Fort Hood, Copper's Cove industrial areas to me would be one of the areas we really need to promote.
Yeah. But if we could get stuff up in the Gatesville area, the young population is what? 18, 19,000?
That's including 8,000 inmates that are inside the city limits. We're probably closer to 8,000, 8 to 9,000.
And there's a few businesses along 116 North going into Gatesville.
There are a few, yes.
Yep. And then right there on 84 by the hospital.
They make the skeletons, the CPR skeletons and things like that, medical stuff. They just had a big expansion they added onto their building. There's a couple of those. They used to build the boats there, deck boat. They went out of business when the back revenue got tight and everybody quit going to the lake, and so that
regardless of how big the business is, if it brings in jobs that are higher than $12, $13, $14 an hour, that brings a lot of additional economic activity for Gatesville itself.
Right.
More people can go to what's the big restaurant on 84 and 36?
Ranchers,
yeah. Or Ranchers or the Feed Mill.
Yes.
Those places like that, they get to spend their money. Go to the Mercantile, buy some cool Wranglers and stuff.
Absolutely.
I mean, every little bit helps. And when you have a good, tight commissioner's court, and that works too. I mean,
Yes,
'cause
that helps.
we all
You have
work
to.
as a team,
Yes.
right?
Everybody has to be on the same page.
So with budget, I mean, that's another big one. Is what specific steps will you take to make the county budget process more accessible and understandable for the average resident in Gatesville or Copperas Cove?
I've learned, previously I talked about some things that I was going to do. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I've learned, um, the county judge doesn't have near the power that I thought he had. A lot of that stuff that I said I'm going to do, I can't do. I can't do it without the approval and the vote in the commissioner's court. Audio and video recordings, live streaming the commissioners' meetings. I can't do that. It has to come to a vote. Now, why the folks that are in there now haven't already voted on that, I don't know. If your population for your county is 125,000 or more, it's required. Under 125, it's optional. Um, but you're talking about the budget stuff. I would like to see, and I don't know.
But that also comes with leadership.
Yes. Well,
And
if you
are you
don't have
prepared to
anything
provide that
if you
leadership?
don't have anything to hide, there's not a problem.
Okay.
That's the way I look at it. We're not going to hide anything from the taxpayers. It's 100% open book. Come into my office, sit down. I'll show you everything I can about it. I would like to get either a financial type program, whether it's Quicken, QuickBooks, whatever, and get a link on the county website that you can click on, and it will show you every penny that comes in, where it comes in from, and every penny that goes out, where it goes to. They spend $1 million a month up there. Pay the bills. It's anywhere from 900,000 to 1.3 million a month. So this will be a big document, but once you get it set up, a lot of that stuff's recurring, and
Well, Miss McFarland should have that anyway.
well, they do, but it's the budget is so difficult to read because there's so many different funds, and this fund goes here, and this fund funds that, and it's very difficult. Um, they talked about it in commissioner's court, and I thought they were working on something to simplify it and put it on the website where people could see where their tax dollars were being spent. That to me is very important. Um, very important. I'd like to say if I'm elected, that's going to happen. If I'm elected, I'm going to do everything within my power to see that happens. Just like the audio and video in the commissioner's court. If I'm elected, and if I can get a couple of commissioners to go along with me so we can vote it in, we'll have cameras right away. Most of you know I have a hearing deficiency in my right ear. I have a cochlear implant. And I'm thinking we can get some Americans with Disabilities Act money to pay for this, at least the audio portion of the. I hear fantastic out of it now, but I still qualify for the ADA stuff.
I wouldn't be surprised if there is available monies through the ADA to be able to do something like that.
It doesn't require a tremendous amount of money to put up a fairly good. We don't have to have 4K picture quality, but we can get a good video system, a good audio system. Yeah. And microphones, however that works out. But I want it. I want the people to be able to. So 9 o'clock on Tuesday morning, you can't. You're at a job. You're doing your job. You're working in the field. You're working in the barn. You're working in the industry. You're working in the food service. You can't watch the commissioner's court meeting. But when you get off in the afternoon and you go home and you sit down and eat supper and you're at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the evening, you can go on that website and click on today's commissioner's court meeting, and you can watch the whole thing start to finish right there. Everything that's said, every facial expression, everything.
So are you willing to push the meeting further into the afternoon if it's possible?
If it's possible, it's going to inconvenience a lot of people if you push it to like 6 o'clock in the evening, where people can come after work. If the people would turn out for that, you bet I'm all for it, because the folks that are required to be there, hey, give them off a half a day, let them come in at 6 o'clock, work 2 or 3 hours, and we're good to go. There are a lot of people that are required to be there that are, it will inconvenience, but if that's what we need to do, it's what we need to do. I think the video stream will take care of it myself.
If you're looking at the live stream, have someone that's doing the monitoring, your
Right.
IT person.
Right.
It's like gauge it. Don't wait till 12 hours later to see the attendance. Have them watch the attendance while it's live,
Right.
so you get a grasp of how many people are actually watching it.
Right. Absolutely.
That'll tell you the tales right there.
Yeah. And it's not a big, it's not going to really put an inconvenience on anybody to have the live stream and recorded and
It works.
archived on the county website somewhere and somebody says, well, I don't remember, we talked about that a month or two ago. It's not real hard to go back and back up a month or two and see what was said about anything.
Well, go back and look at Copper's Coast.
Yeah.
They got an extensive archive.
Right.
So with limited funds, how do you determine which county roads or bridge projects should get priority?
My feeling on that is we have to maintain what we have. So the way all that works, my understanding is the commissioners will get a call from a citizen, hey, I've got a pothole on my road. So the commissioners will should go out and look at it and see what it is. They put in a work order to Justin Latham, the Road and Bridge Commission, Road and Bridge Administrator. Does a fantastic job. Very knowledgeable. He knows the paperwork. He knows the job. He knows the work. Been doing it a long time. Does a great job. They put in a request. He goes and checks on it, see what it's going to take to fix it, gets the material, gets it fixed. I think we have a tremendous amount of money invested in these county roads with the chip seal coat, whatever you want to call it. It's the tar and gravel. It extends the life of the roads. You go in some of the visiting counties or neighboring counties around us, there's not a lot of that chip seal goes on. It cuts way down on your road maintenance. But ever so often, they have to be redone. They have to be reclaimed, retopped, repaved. So we have to maintain and take care of what we have before we expand. Now they have a schedule. They're planning on doing this many feet or this many miles or however they do it all out of this year. But if the budget is cut, then you lose some of that and you're behind. So the next year you have to reschedule some of the same stuff that you had scheduled for the year before. But we have to maintain what we have. You can't spend your money expanding and then let our existing roads go to pieces because we've spent all the money up here. We have to maintain what we have, and then we will extend it as we're able to. Yeah. And I look at that with a whole lot of things. We have to take care of what we have, and then we will expand as we're financially able to.
Which means more tax revenue.
Well, less debt.
Yeah.
I mean, it all works to be the same. But the jail. The jail is a big deal. It's a lot of money. I don't know whether you have that on your list or not, but we need a jail bad. But we don't need a jail until we can afford to pay for a jail. That's a double whammy. I mean, we have to pay to house these inmates outside of our jail facilities. We can do it cheaper at home. The 2.8 million, the 3 point whatever million, the numbers that folks were throwing around, that's a gross amount that we're paying out. But if we figure housing those inmates on our own, we're 2 million, 2 point something million. So we're spending $750,000 or maybe $1 million a year out, with outside on the inmates, which is bad, but it's not as bad as the 3 million that we're talking about before. They have to be housed somewhere, and so it costs something for us to house them in Gatesville as well. But just being responsible for the dollars, taking care of them, and getting everything we can out of a dollar.
Okay. Well, we're going to go into infrastructure and growth.
Okay.
I do. Let's see. So Coryell County is seeing an influx of residents moving from more urban areas. What is your plan to ensure that the county's infrastructure, water, roads, emergency services keep pace without destroying the rural character of the area?
Well, the roads and emergency services really would be the only thing that pertains to the county government. The water, the rural water districts have their areas. If I'm correct, all of that is bought the water is purchased from Gatesville. The Mountain Water Supply, Coryell City, we have 5 or 6, I think, different water supply corporations in the county. So out in the county, they would be responsible for the service. But now the roads, the county has a strict regulation on subdivision roads. They have to be a certain width. They have to be put in correctly. They have to be, the inspectors have to check. You put down the base, you put it down in 6-inch layers called a lift. So you may have 3 or 4 lifts, and you put down a lift and you take a compaction test, density test. Every lift has to be, up to spec before you can proceed further. And then you finish it out with your seal coat or asphalt or whatever they're going to do with it. So at the point where the road is constructed correctly, you've got all the paperwork certifying all that, then the county takes over the maintenance on the road. But it has to be done correctly. It has to be done, an 18-foot wide road, the county would never take over. It has to be 21 or 22 feet wide. There is a minimum. So we have people that inspect that type of stuff. I mean, it has to be done right. Emergency services is very, very, very high on my priorities just because of my background. The fire in Gatesville there's no better example than that of what it takes for emergency services. The ambulance folks were there, the Coryell Memorial Hospital people. City of Coppers Cove sent an aerial truck up there to assist. Mutual aid. We have mutual aid agreements with everybody in the county. Levada was there. Oglesby was there. Jonesboro was there. Coryell City was there. All, their firefighters, their equipment. Those are the type of things that I hate to put it like this, but you don't realize the value that your fire departments and things add until you need them.
Right.
They are, at best, on a day-to-day basis, they're a liability. But when you need them, is when and those folks really shine. That's when they're appreciated. And it's a shame that it's like that, because these guys, they're on call 24 hours a day. We had a funding issue a while back, and I missed the commissioners meeting when it came up. I had a doctor's appointment in Georgetown, but I don't know. I think they finally got everything. It was about contracts and things, but my opinion, somebody from the judge's office, whether it was a secretary or whether it was one of the commissioners, should have gone to each one of these fire stations individually, whoever's in their precinct, and they should have sat down with them and got all this paperwork done, and it should have never come to the point to where we're holding the funds. I know at the time of the big fire, the rural fire departments had not been paid for their October, November, and December expenses from the year prior. That check was due January the 2nd. And I know at the time of the big fire, they hadn't been paid for that.
Who
shortly thereafter,
who pays that check?
The county.
Okay.
And shortly thereafter, they got that check plus the one that's due for January, February, and March, which would have been due April the 1st. So they've gotten both checks. And if they got the paperwork straightened out, hopefully everything would be fine. But it should have never got that far down the road. Somebody 6 months before all that stuff should have been taken care of, and it wasn't. Slipped through the cracks. We have a lot of things slipping through the cracks. Opportunities at grants and things like that. We almost missed out on a $500,000 grant just not long ago. We got an extension because we didn't get it signed in time, and it had to be signed by a certain day at 5 p.m. And it got signed on that day at 6:45 in the afternoon, and we almost lost that grant. We got it. The people in Austin went ahead and processed it, but it's just, I'm not going to call it $500,000. It's not a little thing.
Yeah.
And there are a number of those, and it's just because we just don't pay attention. We don't get it done. What it needs to get done doesn't get done. And I'm not the guy that's going to just sit here and beat on my opponent all day, but it is what it is. The facts are what they are.
Well, Cindy Deanna wrote a question, and she asked, do you plan to be a full-time county judge and be available during work hours? And that's a question mark. And do you believe commissioners should work a fair amount of hours a week to make sure the county business is taken care of.
Absolutely. I will be a full-time judge. I will be in the office unless I am required to be out of the office at a meeting or as your emergency management coordinator. I will be out of the office from time to time with fire departments or whatever if we have a disaster type deal. Not that I can do anything other than show face and get on the telephones. If we need additional resources, then I can make that happen. The commissioners are on call 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. Most people have their phone numbers, um, so they may not quote unquote work a 40-hour week, Monday through Friday, but they're on call. And, as long as they get things done that need to be done, then again, anybody in a county government that is elected, which includes your commissioners, they don't answer to the county judge. The sheriff, the commissioners, the county attorney, all of the elected offices
answer to them.
They answer to the folks that vote for them. They don't answer to the county judge. So that was kind of an eye-opening thing for me. I thought the judge was the guy that was in charge, but the judge is the guy that's in charge of the finances. So that helps. But once the budget is set and the sheriff's office gets their budget, the sheriff can spend that any way he wants to, and there's nothing that the judge can do about it. But yes, Cindy, I'm the guy that's going to be there.
When you provide proper leadership, you can make anything happen.
Well, how in the world, with the way things are right now, how in the world can we hold anybody accountable?
Right.
And I'm going to stop that sentence right there, but you know what's next.
Well, yeah. In the legislature, this last legislature, they passed legislation where county judge and commissioners and judges can be recalled now. Yeah. I'm not advertising that, but that's because if city councilmen and mayors can be done, I guess someone in the legislature said it's a good idea, a good idea for Harry. But they pushed it up a notch to hold the county level officials responsible for their actions too, from DAs to everyone is recallable now. But the process, what leadership is, what they taught us in the Army, is the process by which a person influences the actions of another person.
Right.
And you have toxic leadership or you have proper leadership.
Right.
And if you are a good leader, people will follow you. And if you're setting an example, those guys that are around you, they may not be under your authority, but they're going to say, you know what? That guy's actually providing a good example.
Right.
Why don't I do the same thing?
I will hold myself accountable, and I would ask all the voters to hold me accountable individually. Hey, I'm a human being and I'm going to mess up, but when I do, let me know about it. I have ideas on things. I ran the trucking department out at TTG for 7 years. We hired a lot of truck drivers, come and go. And every one of them, when they came to work after we did our test drive, and I filled out all the sheet and everything on it, I told them, I said, hey, so you're coming from so-and-so. If y'all did things differently over there, tell me about it. The way we do things is an effort that's between myself and the drivers. We talk about things and we find number one, the safest way to do it. Number two, the most efficient way to do it, being monetarily efficient and time efficient. And that's the way we do it. But if you did it different somewhere where you came from, let's sit down and talk about it. That's it. The way we do it is my idea, but it's certainly not written in stone. I mean, I don't know everything. I'll be the first one to tell you I got a lot of learning to do. But that's just the way I am. And trust, I cannot deal with somebody that I can't trust. That's what I told the guys always. I said, hey, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody messes up. When you do it, own it. And we'll get by. We'll make the repairs that are necessary and we'll go down the road. But I said, if you lie to me about something and I catch you in it, I can never trust you again. Trust goes a long way with me. And I can't help that. It's just the way I'm wired. But I will be the guy. I'm going to put in the hours. I've worked long hours my whole life. when I worked in the fire department, Fort Hood, we worked 72 hours a week, every week. Trucking, 14, 16 hours a day, every day and 7 days a week. That's what it took for my wife and I to be able to put our kids through college without them owing any money when they left. And that's what I was prepared to do. And if this job takes 18 hours a day, then that's what I'm prepared to put in. I hope it doesn't.
Well, if anyone else has a question, feel free to type it in, just like Cindy did, or if Cindy has any more questions, she can ask some more. She can, two right there. We don't have a ration, so
Yes,
she can ask
absolutely.
as many as she wants. So I'm going to ask you an open-ended question. You might hate me until here to eternity.
Okay.
What is your view on data centers?
My view on what? Data centers? So my understanding is data centers are permitted through the state. I don't know that the county has a lot to do with it. I would fight tooth and nail to keep a data center from being built in Coryell County. We don't have the infrastructure for it. We don't have the power infrastructure. We don't have the water infrastructure. But my understanding, if the state issues somebody a permit, somebody comes in and buys up some land and puts in a permit, the state issues it, it's going to be difficult to stop it. But that doesn't mean we can't try.
It's like all these fiber lines that they just put in all over the place.
Exactly. So you're talking about that. Let me elaborate on that a little bit. I don't understand how a construction company can come in and do all this boring and tear up things and drill into water lines and tear up people's, and they don't even have their name on the side of their truck. You don't know who it is. That should, to me, the cities should regulate that. You're going to have your company name and contact information on every piece of equipment that you have, so these homeowners have some type of, they know who dug up their front yard and left a mess, but that's city level stuff.
Yeah. Well, I have fiber in here, but when they bored, they went through my ditches because we don't have city sewer. We have septic.
Right.
But I can never take a lawnmower through my ditch ever again because when it bored, it raised and it's rough through there now.
Absolutely.
It's weed eater heaven there.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you believe the current county subdivision rules are too strict, too lenient, or just right? It's Goldilocks, right? And to protect the current landowners from impacts of new developments?
I think the county, you don't want to be micromanaging developments. I mean, if people sell land, people come in and buy land to develop it, to build houses. The houses generate tax revenue. That's good for the county. But as long as it's done within the with the specifications and requirements of the county, I do want to be sure that these developers are up front with the people buying the land. Like there was a big subdivision went in out there, and there is no water in that area. So part of the deal was everybody's going to have to drill a well. Well, I don't think the developer was forward with the folks that came in and bought these 10 and 15, 20 acre tracts. By the way, there's no water here. You're going to have to drill a well on your property. Well, there's no water there. There's also no fire protection water there anywhere. So,
you have the same problem in Goldways too.
Yes, that should be a requirement that the landowner or the purchaser knows everything going in. I mean, but they should ask that question before they just jump. A lot of people, man, I would like to buy 10 or 15 acres. There's a place up here outside of Gatesville they're developing. Let's go look at it. And it's beautiful. I've seen it. It's high fence, nice roads, no water. So,
what can be done about dilapidated housing you see driving like 1113 when driving up to Topsy? There's an area with some really run down, nobody lives in them, mobile homes that are just dying.
Right. Yeah, I don't know the answer to that question, but it's not just there; it's everywhere. There's all your county roads. It seems like people will move in a mobile home. Nothing wrong with living in a mobile home, but when it gets dilapidated, they just pull another one in beside it and move over into the next one. And I don't know how you go about getting rid of those things, but it
ain't like we have code compliance. Like here in code, man, you leave something in the front yard too long, you're going to get a phone call from someone.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a certain amount of freedom that you expect when you live in a county somewhere, and you don't want somebody looking over your shoulder. And I understand that. So I don't know what can be done about that. I don't want to be the big brother looking over everybody's shoulder and trying to, you need to do this, you need to do that. Hey, that's your land, and worst case scenario, you ever think about building maybe a privacy fence so everybody doesn't have to look at that? If it doesn't bother you, that's okay. But some people it
Keep the
does.
gawkers away.
And on a county level, I don't know what you would get into trying to enforce a code type thing like in the cities. I mean, I understand that they have people. That's all they do, code enforcement.
Yeah.
But the county doesn't have that. So
That's a whole level of discussion right there in the city.
that's a whole other deal.
I'd hate to work for those guys. I work as
man.
one of them.
That'd be worse than the
I'd rather
the tax praiser.
Oh my goodness.
That'd be bad job too, in my opinion.
So we're moving into emergency management.
Yes.
Any other questions? Oh,
I was looking.
Oh no, that's a spam guy. He's pretty cool. He gives me a free chat. So.
Oh, okay, cool.
Let's see. So about Fort Hood partnership.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This one said Cavazos, but it's Fort Hood. Given our proximity to one of the largest military installations in the world, which is true,
right.
How will you strengthen your intergovernment relationship to ensure coordinated emergency responses?
Again, working both areas with the fire service on Fort Hood. I was there for just shy of 15 years. Back in the 90s, we had a huge fire. Burned 35,000 acres on the east side of Fort Hood. Well, at that time, I was an officer in the fire department of Gatesville. I had a Gatesville Fire Department radio in my pickup. It was programmable and also had Fort Hood on it. That was the only vehicle that had both radio frequencies in it. So I stayed in that pickup for 6 straight days, communicating between the two departments, coordinating this and coordinating that. A lot of it was done from the incident command. But since then, I think the radios have been upgraded to where everybody can monitor everybody else. They all have their own private frequency, but you're able to go to, like the other night at the square, I think everybody was operating on the county fire channel. So Gatesville has their own private channel. Coryell County fire chiefs or fire departments have their channel, and then each individual department has their own channel, these multi-channel radios. But Fort Hood has to be, included in that. So as far as emergency services, very good, what do you call it? Mutual aid.
Right.
2020 hindsight after the fire the other night, I said, gosh, nobody called North Fort Hood. They've got a pumper there. They've got big tankers there. We could have utilized all that, and it's just a few minutes away. But we just didn't think to call them. So I think maintaining the level of cooperation that we have between not only fire departments but EMS, military police, every aspect of it. I think we have to work hard at maintaining that. They need our help from time to time. We need their help from time to time. Y'all scratch our back, we'll scratch your back. They have a lot of specialized equipment. If we were to have an aircraft fire or something like that required special equipment to extinguish the blaze, whether it's the powder or the foam or whatever, they have that. We don't.
It's a lesson learned right there.
Yes.
Hopefully, you pass it on to the
I hope so.
VF Volunteer Fire Department.
Yes.
VFD.
Right.
That's good. That's what experience brings you to.
Yes, sir.
So with law enforcement, the sheriff's offices often faces staffing and equipment challenges. How do you plan to support local law enforcement while remaining fiscally conservative?
Well, our law enforcement officers, they have to be paid a competitive salary. If your pay is below the established level, what you get into is everybody comes to work. Let's just say Gatesville's $5,000 lower than the threshold. So the people with no experience, they go to work at the Gatesville Sheriff's Office, and I'm not saying that this is not a bad thing. It's in every office. It's at where I worked previously, TTG. That the pay was a little lower than it was at Big Creek, 4 miles down the road. So the guys with zero or very minimal experience, they would come to work at TTG. They would work there, get their 2 years experience. Down the road they go, make $3 or $4 an hour more money. You can't
didn't know
blame them for that.
TTG was a training facility, did you?
Yeah, no, I learned it. I learned that the hard way. But we got a lot of good guys there that are there, been there a good while, and they make a good wage. But starting off with it's tough, and it's really tough. But back to the sheriff's office, their pay needs to be in line with everybody else's. That to me is countywide. Our county road and bridge guys, they need to be paid like the rest of the road and bridge guys in Central Texas are. Our sheriff's deputies, our commissioners, the county judge, they all need to be proportionate with our population and how we relate to, everybody.
Because you don't want to train a deputy, and then all of a sudden it says, "I'm bouncing a claim."
Yes, exactly. And I think there's a lot of that happening. They've gotten raises in the last couple of years. I think that has slowed that down some, but it costs a lot of money to train a new employee. And if you look at it like that, you look at it in the big picture, you're better off to pay a little bit more money. But I mean, sheriff's office, EMS, fire service, those people, those funds, those departments have to be staffed and they have to be funded fully. Equipment, transportation, training, that's very high priority on my list.
So with the Commissioner's Court, as county judge, you preside over the Commissioner's Court.
Yes.
All right. You're like the mayor of the city, but you're the mayor of the county. How do you handle a situation where the commissioners are deadlocked on a critical issue?
Well, depending on the issue, if it is an emergency situation, then we are going to discuss it until we're all or most are on the same page. And if that takes all day, it takes all day. If it's something that we can table and do a workshop on and get a little more input from the community, some education of how things work and why we need to do it this way or why we need to do it that way. It needs to be a consensus where everybody, when we get through visiting about it, everybody needs to be in agreement that this is the best way to do this for Coryell County. And I don't think that's going to be a major problem. I think once we get the train back on the tracks, I have visited with all the commissioners, the existing commissioners, the prospective new ones. I can and I will work together with all those guys. We have a great working relationship, and we'll get things done. We'll get the right things done in a timely manner.
We touched on this a little bit, but what is the county judge's role in attracting new businesses to Coryell County?
Well, typically, I haven't been involved in this a lot, but I think typically you offer the new businesses some tax deferrals and things like that to get them and help them get in, get them set up. This is an area where I'm lacking, and I would like to have a community development board. We used to have one. I would like to get back to that, and they would do a lot of that type of stuff. Try to make presentations to these companies, and this is what we have to offer. Even though our resources are somewhat limited, it would still be good if we could, attract some medium-sized businesses, some contract folks that are working on Fort Hood. Going to be a long-term deal. They're going to come in. They're going to build a big business, a building, and they're going to do their thing on Fort Hood, and it may turn out to be a forever thing. But you got to throw them just a little bit of a bone to get them to pick Copper's Cove or Gatesville or anywhere in between, just because of the logistics to Fort Hood. You know, I mean, they're close and they need to be close by, and so this is what we got. You know, but
Well, you got the. I mean, we talk about 116 Cove to Gatesville, but there's Gatesville to Waco, McGregor,
right,
and Gatesville to Oglesby,
right,
and then and those are big areas. The max expense you got Flat and
right,
South Mountain and all those areas out there that need attention also, and
right.
they lose kids. I mean, I know. Oh, I don't want not in my backyard, but when their kid turns 18 years old and they bail to Fort Worth.
Yeah.
And you see them like once every 3 or 4 months, and they say, "Mom, Dad,
There's no opportunity.
there's no opportunity to excel here."
Right.
I don't want to. No offense to corrections officers, but I don't want to work in a prison. I want to do this, and
Right.
we got to provide them that opportunity to excel.
Right.
And you want a nuclear family. Let's make the environment good. You have a nuclear family, and you keep all your kids close to you if you want.
They have to be able to make a living.
Right? Yeah.
And I always told my kids, you know, I use my kids as an example, but I told them from when they were little bitty, I said, you know, one day you're going to have to get out and you're going to have to get you a job. You're going to have to find you a career. Find something you enjoy doing. If you go to work every day to a job that you hate, you'll be miserable your whole life. I don't care if you get filthy rich. You will not be happy because 8 to 10 hours of your day is tied up doing something that you can't stand to do. Find something you like to do. You'll be happy the rest of your life. You make a livable wage. You know, your life will be better. And so far, it's, I don't know, I have a grandson that he always wanted to be a veterinarian. He didn't know whether he wanted to own a pet store or be a veterinarian.
That's a big difference.
Yeah, I told him, I said, well, you be a veterinarian, you can make enough money to buy a pet store. Papa, you really think so? I said, yeah. But he's gone off to college, and he said, man, I don't think I could do this for 8 years to be a veterinarian. He said, I think I want to do something else. I said, hey, just find something you enjoy.
Imagine being in my shoes back in 1986 when I joined the Army.
Yeah.
Base pay for a private $450 a month.
Wow.
And like, well, but I love being a soldier. So
yeah.
I know I got lots of friends out there. They know how I feel.
Absolutely.
And
yes, sir.
You just look around my house, you see Army stuff all over the place.
Right.
Still.
Absolutely.
Like,
it was
I don't have it in here. I got a Humvee, a little model Humvee. I'm about to bring it in and put it in here so people can see it. So I got one more question I want to ask you. And so since both candidates are running as Republicans, what is the single biggest policy or physiological big word difference between you and your opponent that voters should consider before May 26th?
There's several things. The first thing is I'm going to be at work every day. We don't have that right now, my understanding. Sometimes it takes a while to make an appointment to see the county judge. I'll be in office Monday through Friday, 8 hours a day, unless I'm required to go training or there's a lot of meetings. There's a lot of things that go on that take the judge away from the office, but I won't be hard to find. Things will be done in a timely manner. We are going to seek and acquire every possible avenue for grant money, federal money and state money. The more grant money that we can get in, the less reliable we are on rooftop taxes. If we can get a couple $1 million a year, hey, that's a penny or two off the tax rate. Sometimes you can get bigger amounts, sometimes less, but we can't be relaxed in our effort to acquire tax money, or not grant money, I'm sorry. Emergency management, been there, done that. I will do everything in my power to assist our local fire departments, EMS folks, sheriff's office, city police, city of Coppers Cove. Anything I can do to help, I will help. I will do my very best to be at every city council meeting. I've only made 1 or 2 so far. That's on me. But once elected, I will be at the Gatesville City Council meetings just to add what I can from the county perspective. I'll be at the Coppers Cove City Council meetings offering county's help anywhere it can be used. We just we have to get along like a family because we are a family, and that's important to me.
Okay. So before I ask this final question about why you want to win that runoff, uh, if you're watching, we still got people watching. If you have a final
That's a good
question, yeah, it is very good. It may show 11 here, but it's higher than 11. Believe me. But sometimes people keep the privacy settings on.
Yes.
But if you have a question you want to ask Mr. Erwin here, write it in before we sign off, because I'm going to ask him why you want to win that runoff and be the county judge for Coryell County.
I think Coryell County deserves better than what we're getting at the moment. Toxic work environment in the tax office, that leaves on day one. That is unacceptable. And January the 1st of next year, when I'm elected, it's over. When you come back to work on the 2nd of January, it's going to be a different office. And we will have a meeting, and everybody in that building will understand it. We're not going to put up with that type of an atmosphere. It is just completely unnecessary. Work ethic, you'll find that my work ethic is probably right up there at the top. I would say second to none, but I'm sure there's people that work harder than I do. But I will put in the time required to do the job every day. I will start working on the budget by the first quarter of the year for sure, and I will have the commissioners a workable budget at least 60 days before they have to vote on it.
Wow.
The last minute stuff, I've heard all the horror stories, and I've heard all of the threats that the judge was going to file suit on the commissioners if they changed anything in his budget, and just crazy stuff. I've heard all those stories. I've seen some of them. We don't have our government doesn't have to function like that. When we have meetings on the tax rates, hey, y'all come on, but you won't be screaming and hollering because we're trying to do things the wrong way. We're going to do things with the taxpayer in mind. We serve the citizens of Coryell County. Your commissioners are voted on. They are your representatives as to how you want your tax dollars spent in the commissioner's court. If you like the way things are being done, then you got people in there doing what you want to do. If you don't like the way things are being done, the only way you can change it is by voting. That's plain and simple. Give something else a try. I don't know.
That's cool. No one else wrote a question in, so I guess we're pretty much done. Anything else you want to say? You got any county meet and greets besides the one I just sent you an invite for April?
No,
14th?
I don't have anything scheduled. I'm going to be going around to different agencies and things. Just my thing is, the first time I ran, like I said, I wanted to do it by myself. I'm a big boy. I didn't take any campaign funds or any campaign donations. So after it's all over, I asked, we came up. We actually got the most votes, but I didn't win the election. So I have talked to some people that have run some runoff elections, and hey, what did I do right and what did I do wrong? They said, well, first thing you did wrong was you tried to do it on your own. I said, well, yeah, I did, but I just, that's the way I wanted to do it. He says, you've got to have help. So with all of like I said earlier, the commotion that's going to be going on during the week of the runoffs, which is the last week of public school in Gatesville. Graduation is Friday night, and then the holiday weekend. It's going to be a matter of getting people out to vote. Telephone calls, friends. If I call somebody on a cold call and say, hey, I'm Rob Erwin, I really appreciate you considering voting on me for county judge, in one ear and out the other. But if you call 5 of your friends and say, hey, this dude's the real deal, this is what we need to do, so y'all at least give him a consideration, call some of the people up there within the county government and ask them if all this stuff's really going on that they're talking about. They're all listed on the website. Just pick any phone number. Doesn't matter. Sheriff's office, clerk's office, any of them, any of the commissioners. They'll tell you what's going on. They're not bashful. but it's going to take friends calling friends, because your friends will remember your conversation. They won't remember me calling them. So I'm just going to call on. I have had people volunteer to call for me. So we'll call 10, 15 people every day and get them to of our friends and have them vote for you. Then we can get the list as to who votes during that week. I can get a list every day. And if your people voted, if they didn't, next day they get a text message. Hey, notice you didn't vote yesterday. And then on Wednesday, if they still haven't voted, they get another phone call. Hey,
I'm going to go vote. Keep you from texting me.
Get off your rear end and go vote. You know that. I mean, then that's the way we're going to have to do it. But we're going to get it done, and we're going to turn this county around, and we're not going to have the problems that we have now. I promise you. We may have a whole new set of problems. Problems come by every day, but I think the way that you handle the problems is what defines your character as a person. And I am easygoing, but I believe in taking care of business.
I have my Coppers Cove Conservative Club on the 14th of April.
Yes.
And then Giovanni's, yep, at 6 p.m. Everyone's welcome to come on out. And then on the 2nd of May is the feed bin. Is that what it's called?
Feed mill. Yes.
Feed mill.
Yes.
That's Coryell County Republican Party at, I believe, 11 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
It's a Saturday. And then on the 12th of May is the Coppers Cove Conservative Club and the Coryell County Republican Party meeting at Giovanni's again.
Right.
And then we're just trying to pass the word out so we can get maximum participation.
Absolutely.
To get you in front of voters.
Absolutely. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you putting this message out to the people. You know, it's just gonna and notoriously runoff elections just don't gather the same enthusiasm that the general election does.
You have a supporter that just said vote for you.
Good deal. Yeah, I appreciate it. You know, just getting the word out is going to be getting people out to vote. If I can get the people who voted for me before to vote again, there's not going to be a runoff. Somebody's going to get 50% plus one this time, and I hope it's more along the lines of 70-30. But we'll just have to see.
Remember, the object is not to be butthurt Republicans. So if your opponent loses, he needs to support you. If you lose, you got to support him.
I will support
absolutely.
Of course, this will be
supposed to do.
Yes, it is. What do you call it? There is no Democrat running, so it will be
winner takes
unopposed.
all.
Yeah, unopposed after the runoff. So the winner of the runoff should be the winner in November, unless there's a really strong write-in candidate or something. But I don't know how that works. That may not even be possible. But anyway, I really hope we're able to get this done, and we'll get this. Seems like it's a mountainous event of getting all this stuff turned around and headed in the right direction. But when the sticks start falling and they all start falling in the right direction, I think a lot of this stuff is going to correct itself.
Okay.
I think you lead by example, and you hold everybody else accountable, and you hold yourself accountable. That will make all the difference in the world.
All right. Thank you very much for coming on.
I really appreciate the opportunity.
I think this interview was better than the first one you did. I think you're getting used to it.
I've talked to a lot of people since then. Yeah, I was pretty nervous the first one, but we're just having a conversation today.
Yeah. Hey, thank you all very much for tuning in today. Remember, like what Rob was saying, early vote is the 18th to the 22nd, and election day is the 26th. Those are in May. And April 2nd is the deadline. Wait a minute, is it April? No.
Deadline to register.
To register vote. Oh, man, I had those numbers. To look. Yeah. Oh.
7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on the early voting and voting day. So don't get out there and vote. Call your friends, your coworkers, your family. Be sure everybody votes. Get it done early in the week, and that way, as the distractions come, we don't have to worry about that. We've already voted. So,
I was thinking April 2nd because in Bell County, their elections are May 2nd, so their registrations ends on April 2nd. So, but ours is toward the end of April to be able to vote in the primary.
Right.
Okay. So thank y'all very much for tuning in. Click the follow button, give us a like, and then share the interview out. And I will catch y'all tomorrow morning at 6:30 Anything else you want to say?
That's it. Thank you
All
very
right.
much for listening to me, and get out and vote.
All right. And this is James Pierce with the JPA Report. I'll catch you on the flip side. I'm out.